The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
The November election is soon becoming a reality here in Fall River, and we here at FRCMedia are trying to speak to as many candidates as possible so you can make an informed decision when you vote on Election Day. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by one of the 9 incumbent city councilors looking for another term. He is Councilor and Attorney Brad Kilby. Brad, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure, Keith. Nice to see you, and thank you to Bristol Community College for letting me come.
You know, prior to this interview, you recorded a statement, and you had said that you've been in public service for quite some time.
Yes.
Has it changed at all over the years in terms of your service on the city council, and also prior to that, I believe, the school committee?
Yeah, change is an understatement. Not only the city has changed. So when I was first elected in 1994, the city was drastically different. First of all, in terms of education, we had old, antiquated schools that needed not only, if not repair. I mean, we had close to 38 elementary schools, or schools in general, back then. So they were old and antiquated, and we under Ed Lambert, and at the time I was on the school committee, we embarked on this very bold plan to build new schools, and which was transformational to the city. So education has changed drastically. Our population has changed drastically. The way you go about campaigning for office has changed drastically since the onset of COVID, and the increase in social media, whether it's a good thing or for some, maybe some people feel it's too much. It has definitely been a transformational process, Keith. Then the rail, our economy, our population, and in so many ways it was much different in 1994. I feel like an old man saying that, but we graduated from high school together, my friend. But it passed quickly, and rents, and so. Yes, change is an understatement.
Yeah,
and there are many challenges facing the city, but also I always tend to have an optimistic view. I think the city's on a cusp to really explode with the different challenges, of course, but with the challenges comes along hopefully some prosperity with with everything, our waterfront. So I can speak for a while on that first question, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the questions I did want to ask you, and I had the opportunity to speak recently with Councilor Pereira, who's been on the council again for quite some time. Any thoughts about maybe it's enough after all those years of serving? Did you think about,
Well, I would always say to my family, and can I first mention to you, I think I did say it on the brief statement, my life has changed drastically since I was first elected. I was, married with one child, and now I have 4 grandchildren. So that's been quite a change itself. But yes, at times there is times where there's some frustration for sure. But I always try to hang in there. I'm not someone who, anybody knows me, I'm not someone that gives up easily on certain things. But there has been times when I do say enough's enough. And that's normal for any person. After some meetings, I do come home somewhat frustrated. And there's other times I come home from meetings feeling very accomplished at something that was done. So I've always been the type of person that likes to contribute to the community. I mean, city councilors, we get paid, Keith, $16,000. So obviously it's Fall River. It may seem like a lot, but with the time that we put in, we're in it for the right reasons. And I think my colleagues are as well that I serve with. And but there is going to be a time when I hang up the cleats, so to speak. But that hasn't come yet.
Yeah. Let me ask you: is there one issue that you want to focus on over the next 2 years? That obviously that, and we'll get into some of this. Public safety is always important. Making sure the city spends its money well and prudently is another. But is there one issue that you're looking to focus on? Be it an opportunity that could be forthcoming for the city, or something else that you want to focus on over the next 2 years?
Yeah, well, I've always, that's going to take some thought. I mean, as a city councilor, I really take issues as they come at me, and people have to understand that about our role as members of the city council. We have a type of charter that the mayor proposes things to us, and we dispose of them. And he has a very broad scope of powers to do that. So, however, by building good relationships, and I do have a good relationship with Mayor Cooper. I really do. I've known him for years. I know, I'm 60 years old now, Keith, and I've known him since I was 15 years old. So I think I know the person. And being mayor's a difficult job. So to answer your question, if there's one thing I think I want to focus on is, and I'm not an expert at it, so I usually, go to the department heads and some of my colleagues, like Council Kadim, who's very, very well adapted in budget issues. So our budget's going to be challenging, and I think the reason I say that is because of all the new things that are occurring in Fall River. With the rail, with our housing, with the rail comes along new development, good thing. With the rail comes along population, and maybe, hopefully not, but an influx and maybe an increase on our public safety, meaning our police and fire. So the budget and sustaining all of this new development and infrastructure that's occurring in Fall River, but also taking care of the needs of the people in Fall River with their solid services, right down to trash, is a key. It's definitely a key. So we need individuals who are budget people, just professionals at giving good advice, because our job as councilors is part-time. I mean, I'm a full-time attorney. It does take me time to be a counselor, but I do enjoy doing it, Keith. So I would say the budget, in terms of me concentrating on the budget, like I said, I'm not a budgetary expert, but so when you ask that one question, there are so many issues. When you focus on the budget, it actually focuses on all of the needs on that canvas, so to speak.
Yeah. I always like to bring up the issue of public safety. Depending on what publication you read online and otherwise, Fall River seems to be at the top in terms of crime in general, in terms of, not in a good way. Although crime statistics, from what we hear from the police department, crime has gone down over recent years. And there's always been issues with staffing. I know with the police department, and speaking with chiefs in the past, they say years ago they used to have a lot of recruits, but not a lot of money to pay them in terms of bringing them on board. Now we're sort of at the opposite level. There's money in the budget to hire more police officers, but there's less recruits. Fire department, again, there's been some staffing changes, unfortunately, following the Gabriel House fire. How do we adequately, keep Fall River safe?
Well, I think Fall River is safe. I read again, social media with a cognitive ability to know the reality of things. So I think Fall River is a very safe place to live. We, like I said at my brief statement there, we've always been labeled a gateway city. We truly are a gateway city now. And so in terms of our staff, we had a wonderful presentation. A public safety meeting was held. Councilor Hart's the chairman. I'm a member of that with Michelle Dion. And Chief Furtado, our police chief, Chief Bacon, our fire chief, our EMS personnel. They came down and they gave us a very nice statistical data that I thought was truthful. And that's what I think the public looks for, truthful data. We are a city of 90,000 people, give or take. So recruitment, good question, yes. I mean, being a former police officer is a very, very challenging thing. Talk about change, right? That's how we started this interview. Not everybody wants to be a police officer any longer. But I do see, when I am driving around, when I'm at meetings, I see a younger force. I really do. I see more ladies. I see young ladies. I see young men that have come on board. And I tend to be an optimistic person, so I'm not going to say Fall River is not safe, because I think it's safe. And also I would say, people have to be kind to each other, Keith. That's the way I dictate my life. I'm just kind to my fellow person. But we have a fentanyl issue. There's no doubt about it. I'm not in denial. We have a illegal firearm issue. I'm not in denial with that. But compared to other, again, gateway cities and peer communities, our shootings, not as big. Unfortunately, our murders, not as much. So the goal is to sustain that. But in terms of being unsafe, no, I'll at this point in time, I will not say that.
Being a public servant for over 20 years, get a lot of phone calls. Constituent services is probably
more emails now.
Yeah, I was going
to.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, constituent services has always been important in this role. Maybe city council, maybe not as much as a school committee. I mean, you'll get parents that I would sure used to call you, but how important is to be responsive, and sometimes you may want to make a call to someone and the department head and they'll get things done. But I mean, I guess how is that balance for you in terms of making sure that you respond? Yeah.
When people listening out there who young people or whatever age want to come in after I leave, that should be the top of the job description is doing things for people. I always got involved, and this is not just a line, trust me, to try to help people, to make people's lives better. And I try as much as I can to respond to the constituent calls and concerns. And that's one of the reasons why I've always learned from when I first was elected under Ed Lambert and all the way up now to Paul Coogan. A counselor has to have, I think, a very good relationship with the administration. And I'm not saying rubber stamping things. That I will never be that type of person. It's the ironic thing. If you vote a certain way on the council, you're a rubber stamper. If you vote against the mayor, you're against the mayor. No. Use your own subjective knowledge to make a vote. But relationships are very, very important. And as a counselor, people feel free to come to me, and they always do wherever I am. It's true. But it's something you have to like, and I do enjoy it, Keith. But it's the foundation of the job.
Yeah. A lot has been made now, I guess, for the second election cycle in a row here in Fall River. Is the cost of living. Rents in Fall River continue to be high, not just in Fall River, across the country. It's an issue. I know other elements that are not under the city's control, like electricity and gas. Those rates have skyrocketed. How, as one counselor, or maybe as a council, can you do something that may not, obviously a lot comes from the mayor, but is there anything legislatively that can be done to help people?
Yes, I mean, I would say that's a really good question. I mean, how can I influence the cost, decrease the cost of living for people, and also that's decrease and increase their income. Well, first of all, education, right? Secondly, try to be, back to my budget thing, try to be as responsible as I can, because the job I have is a balance. It's a balance. When we have the sewer and water department coming down, on one hand we want clean water, and on the other hand people want cheaper bills. This last year, when we were working on the budget, we refused to increase water and sewer fees based on what citizens' input they were getting from the public. So there, of course, yeah, there are ways, but again, it all goes down to that budget, and it's difficult because it's a balance between the police, the fire, the trash, the whole broadness of the budget, without increasing the cost for residents. So it's a very, very difficult, challenging thing. So I always try my best to use my judgment once again to make sure that my votes are what I think are appropriate. People want clean water. When you take a shower, you turn on your faucet, you want to drink it. So what comes along with that is costs, and things have gone up drastically everywhere throughout the country. But people's ability to pay hasn't gone up as consumer to all that. So it's a very complex issue, and I just promise the voters out there that I know I will do all I can as one vote, one elected official out of 21 in the city, counting state delegation, to just try to keep in mind that people are struggling.
Yeah. Well, Brad Kilby, I appreciate your time as always. All the best in the election, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you for joining us here in FRC Media, and please make a point to vote on Tuesday, November 4th.